The million-dollar question has finally been posed. Why is Robyn perpetually upset all the time? Fans have screamed this at the screen for years, but nobody in the Brown family ever tells her off. Why? Because Robyn has been so good at playing the victim that she managed to win an Oscar for playing one. It's painfully clear that she's selfish, manipulative, and downright sneaky. But she plays it off with her tears and her poor me routine. And here's where things get interesting. Meet Jen. Meri's friend, the outsider. The one person who's not afraid to tell it like it is. When Jen has overheard Jen's offhanded disclosure concerning the discussion that Kody and Robyn had, regarding that covenant of the gods that Robyn uttered to Kody, ordering him away if he ceased to love her, is stunning. I had to drop my jaw off the floor when I first heard that. This was where we all kind of understood the extent to which Robyn's saga has been stagecraft. Thank goodness for Jen, who at least gets it. Actually, Jen is the one who eventually realizes the actual meaning behind Kody's mysterious behaviors. If only she had been present during the divorce negotiations, she would have seen right through everything. Now, moving on to Robyn's histrionic moment when she cries, exclaiming, "I can't watch this. I can't watch this." Seriously, it was so over the top that it seemed like she was reading for a part in a Lifetime original movie. In all seriousness, the histrionics were excessive. And here's the truth. Jen was spot on. The whole family is tiptoeing around Robyn. Why? Because if anyone is bold enough to criticize her, Kody totally shuts them down. He's so fixated on making Robyn happy that he's willing to alienate his own children. In the meantime, the other wives? They're all clamoring for any small morsel of attention or affection Kody might bestow on them. Remember, he's also the money man. So Robyn is welcome to behave like a child and an adolescent without anyone correcting her. But not Jen. Jen has nothing to lose, no relationship to Kody, and she's not afraid to ask the hard questions. And truly, you go, Jen. Jen really nailed it when she pointed out how Meri is always the one left disappointed by the others. Remember when Meri followed all the rules during the pandemic and still ended up being shut out? It's clear as day. Robyn doesn't want to live a plural marriage. In fact, Christine was right when she called it out. Robyn just wants to monopolize Kody. Robyn is a phony, through and through, and the entire debacle is a tangled web of dishonesty. Now, there's just so much more we have to get into, so let's not dilly-dally any longer. Buckle up, because we're about to tear it all apart. Hello all. Welcome back to my channel. Let me strike you with my hot take. I don't think for a second that Robyn ever wanted to be in a plural marriage. Not for 1 minute. I'm sure she's been lying from the beginning. When she married Kody, who was already in a plural marriage, she was thinking, why not shoot for the whole monogamy thing and evict the other wives? And you know what? I'm holding to that theory. At first, Kody really did want the plural marriage lifestyle. But when he understood that his sentiments towards Robyn were, let's say, a tad bit different from those he had towards his first 3 wives, things went awry. And what did they do? They planned to have a monogamous relationship under the polygamy setup. Slowly but surely, they began pushing the original wives out, all while staying under the same roof, making sure they were the last ones standing. Let's be honest here. This is shady. It's criminally close. Okay, states like Arizona and Nevada may not particularly care about alienation of affection, but Utah? That's a different story altogether. And now I can't help but wonder, was this actually the real reason they were so eager to get out of Utah? Perhaps they knew things were going to become a whole lot more complicated, which is why they're refusing to return. Thanks for attending my TED Talk, but here's my opinion. Robyn was polygamy all the way. But on her terms, she wanted to be the center of attention. The cute young wife with adorable children, all the male attention, and her older sister wives to keep her company. She could boss them around while they paid her bills. It was as if she had finally been promoted to manager in the family, before she caught on that her workers, the other wives, had all resigned. Now she's crying about it. Classic Robyn move. Let's get real for a second. Robyn didn't desire an equal, fair relationship with the other wives. If she had, she would have actually become a part of their lives, perhaps assisting with childcare or splitting the workload of domestic responsibilities. But no. Instead, she got to monopolize Kody and never told him to spend time away from her. Turns out, she never was fighting for equality. She was just the assistant to the regional manager the whole time. And that's not even bringing up the entire catfish deal with Meri. Here's where things get even juicier. I'm about 99.92% sure that Kody and Robyn set Meri up. After all, Lady Quiet Poop knew Jackie, aka Sam, before joining the family. Could it be that they orchestrated the whole thing? Sounds suspicious to me. But here's the kicker. Robyn enjoyed being a member of this polygamous family because Kody paid her more attention than he ever paid the original wives. She was in the spotlight, feeling special, younger, sexier, and better than the others. But now that it's just her and Kody, she's unhappy. There's no one left to look down on, and let's be real, she's stuck with a guy she likely doesn't even want to be with anymore. Kody fell for Robyn because she was young, adorable, and completely willing to indulge his dented, insecure ego. She made him feel like the king of the world. But now she's beginning to see that she's just another wife in a crumbling family. And trust me, Robyn certainly desired to be the premier wife, the one who reigned over the others, controlled them, and had them serving her and Kody. She behaves as if she's some sort of righteous, godlike being that everyone else should look up to and obey as their better. She and Kody obviously believe they're doing the other wives a gigantic kindness by permitting them to live in their presence. But equality? Number. That was never in the cards. That was never in the cards, was it? Oh, Kody. I really sympathize with the whole family because, in all honesty, no one can be held accountable for this whole debacle. But seriously, I hope that this experience becomes a wake-up call for him. It's about time that shocker is delivered right into Kody's face. He has so many kids and grandkids, whether they are children or adults, and they all owe his love, attention, and at least the minimum of time from their father. Children should always be first, Kody. Always. Maybe this loss will draw the family together instead of driving them apart. Now, that would be a twist, wouldn't it? But let's discuss something that really got under my skin. Remember that evening dinner at Garrison's house? Kody was there, chatting with Janelle and Christine like he didn't need his dad. He said, "We're grown adults. We don't need our dad." Really, Kody? Because that definitely sounded like a defensive position. Newsflash? You did need your dad. And worse still, deep inside, you needed your dad. You could almost hear the miserable, desperate cry behind that macho facade. Typical Kody, attempting to be tough when all you can really see is a man who is filled with disappointment and self-hatred, wondering why no one will ever love him. Let's not mince words here. Kody's been a garbage dad to most of his grown children. Yes, most. But hey, maybe, just maybe, this will be the day he wakes up and finally attempts to mend those broken relationships. But that's a big maybe. Is it truly in anyone's best interest to have Kody around? Probably not. Honestly, not having a father is way less harmful than having one who actively harms you. Just ask Maddie, who made the obvious decision to keep him away from her kids. Those reasons aren't vanishing into thin air just because the cameras are rolling. But then again, narcissists are going to narc. If Kody does try, you know it'll be on his terms, his feelings, his needs, his agenda. Don't expect him to humble himself enough to fulfill the actual needs of his kids. Instead, we'll likely get one of those embarrassing "I reached out" interviews. Because that's how real relationships work, right? And of course, we can't forget that classic "I have a house they can come to" moment when Garrison invited him over. Pure gold. But honestly, I'm going to go ahead and bet Kody won't change a hair if they continue to film. You know how it is. Rumors and all. I can already see him in one of those speaking head interviews, complaining, "If only they'd called me," or "If only Janelle hadn't spoken to the kids about me and Robyn, things would have been different." He'll find a way to blame everyone else while conveniently ignoring the fact that he's the problem. It's never his fault. It's always someone else's. And Robyn, she's right there with him, carrying out her role in the story. Robyn's Cinderella tale didn't go exactly as she'd envisioned. She likely entered the family thinking she'd be the underdog, the battered single mom fleeing a violent marriage who finds her prince amid the disapproval of those evil sister wives. I'm sure Kody painted a pretty picture, telling her that the audience would love her just like he did. But instead of becoming the beloved heroine, Robyn ended up playing the role of the wicked stepmother. Far from a Disney fairy tale, her reality looks more like something out of the Brothers Grimm. The issue was, the other wives were essentially in the same situation. Poor single mothers, just trying to get by until the show was paying the rent. Robyn appeared to have created this fantasy world in her mind, one which didn't quite align with the life she actually lived. And when her fantasy didn't equate to reality, she found herself confused and, honestly, traumatized. And then there's the boredom factor. It's simply impossible not to see, particularly because Robyn never stops playing the victim, whining about things that aren't occurring, or things that simply don't concern her. Honestly, she's just so dull. The other wives and their children are lively, vivid, animated, and interesting. Robyn? As flat as a pancake. Can anyone recall a single joke or witty comment from her? And I don't mean something inadvertently, like her "I for Wyoming" moment. I mean a genuine, intended joke. Or a moment when she mobilized the group for some enjoyment or organized something to spice up the day. It'd be impossible to be friends with her. It's like you're stuck being buddies with a friend of your parents who has absolutely nothing to contribute to the conversation. No matter how you try to force it, they're just going to go running to their parents, complaining about how you were being so mean. Then, you're roped into apologizing. Classic, at its core, Robyn appears to be attempting to prove something. To herself, to her mother, and to all those who ever questioned her. She doesn't want to be the invisible wife, the one who is forgotten. But she's trapped in a cycle, forever reliving her childhood trauma. It's impossible to ignore how much that impacts her daughters as well. She reached for the stars when she wed into the notorious TV polygamy clan, likely hoping that all the individuals who ever made her feel inferior would finally witness her triumph. But now, it's beginning to appear as though the fairy tale she had in mind never actually stood a chance. And let's discuss her over-the-top dramatic version of her coronavirus experience. "Practically on my deathbed," Robyn declared, and my jaw actually dropped. Okay, these two are used to making a big show of things, but that took it to another level. I shouldn't have been surprised. But really, wow. Talk about tone deaf. People lost loved ones, mourned alone, and had their worlds upended. And here's the thing. I lost 2 loved ones and was also the sole caregiver for my dad, who underwent a kidney transplant only 3 months prior to the lockdowns being implemented in New Jersey. So not only was he immunosuppressed to avoid organ rejection, but he also had to go in for doctor appointments and blood draws at least once a week. In addition to that, he was receiving home care infusions the whole time through the coronavirus lockdown. And who was his full-time caregiver? Me. And because of his sickness, we couldn't even go to his mother's funeral. So when Kody and Robyn begin their absurd drama of having COVID-19, I'm not so much in sympathy towards them. Honestly, at this point, I just want to punch them in the mouth. Robyn didn't even require oxygen, and Kody had hardly any fever, but they were half dead or something. Yeah, right. The entire ordeal with Robyn in the hospital, hoodie up looking like a pilgrim, sincerely, it was ridiculous. What a couple of crybabies. I don't blame Gwen and Christine for giggling. These two are a joke. It's more than disrespectful to anyone who did in fact have severe COVID symptoms. Those who were intubated, hospitalized, had long-term effects, or, God forbid, lost a loved one. And let's discuss David and Christine's family, particularly with the loss of Garrison. It's heartbreaking just trying to put your mind around the unimaginable sorrow they must be experiencing. Then I remembered that David had already been through such a profound loss when his first wife died by suicide. This must be coming as a shock to him all over again, bringing back wounds that he may not even have known were still open. But if anybody can get through this with compassion, it's David. I'm sure he's doing his best to support Christine, and with his past experiences, he probably has a lot of patience and understanding to offer right now. But let's not forget that this is a tough time for their kids too. The whole family must be reeling. David's got to be struggling to keep his head above water, but I hope he's counting on Christine and doing his best to be present for her and for his own children. It's just awful to think about, and you can bet that Christine has been doing the same. Supporting David, and even going so far as to reach out to his kids. She must be doing all that she can to shower them with love and comfort during this devastating moment. But still, it is a loss that will hurt everyone who was involved. I really did feel bad for them when they initially announced it. You just can't fathom the heartache they're all experiencing. And then there's Kody. What is he doing? So, I've been binging on the show while I'm recovering from surgery, and I thought I had a pretty good idea of Kody from all the articles and tabloids. I figured what I read was likely embellished for the sake of drama. But no. Wow. I'm only just getting to the part where Christine is departing, and I'm seriously on the verge of crying after each episode. The way he handles everyone, it's just purely crap. Every episode, I feel like reaching through the screen and shaking some sense into him. I haven't seen in a couple of years, but I used to think Kody was kind of full of himself. But what I'm witnessing now is an entirely different level of terrible. It really does make me question what's going on with his mental health. I don't have some grand theory to explain. I'm just completely shocked after binge watching the past couple of days. Here's the thing. Kody's had a lot to deal with. His brother dying unexpectedly, his dad passing away, and really, his own health struggles. It's obvious that it's taken a toll on him that's enormous. It's like that delicate, barely holding together facade he constructed just collapsed. Let's not forget, Kody's reached middle age now. Most folks don't abandon 3 wives and 13 children in their midlife crisis, but I suppose the idealism of youth wasn't strong enough to sustain the farce. And then there's the daddy issues aspect. Kody himself has averred as much. Now that his dad is gone, it seems he finally learned he entered polygamy largely due to his father's influence. The responsible thing to do would have been to stick around until the kids were grown, and then maybe move on. But we're talking about Kody here, selfish as ever. As he said about Janelle's mom and his own dad, 20 years wasn't enough. He had that with Robyn, and clearly he didn't want to miss out on any of it. Honestly, Kody is now just a narcissist. If he isn't receiving the constant adoration and attention he feels he is owed, then he treats everyone like rubbish, gaslighting, talking down, and basically turning his back on anybody who does not worship him. The bloke really needs some serious therapy. Leave me a comment down below what you think. Don't forget to like that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.